Okay, good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, time for our routine Thursday weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. We have a lot to talk about, obviously, today, so we will get started here. This covers the period today through next Wednesday. My name is Gail Hartfield. I'm a senior forecaster here at the Weather Service in Raleigh, and let's get started. Okay, first off, we'll dive right into the important thing, which is the remnants of Tropical Depression Sally. This is the broad tropical weather outlook that was issued earlier this morning. There was an update for Sally. It is indeed a post-tropical cyclone or a remnant low, but still has some pretty significant hazards with it, and we will talk about that in just a minute. Other than this, we have no real tropical systems that are imminent in the forecast for our area. We're always keeping an eye on things, of course, and you can see from the map there, we do have a couple of systems out there. First one being Teddy, and that is a hurricane, and it is forecast to become a major hurricane as it moves toward Bermuda late Sunday night and into Monday. So that's another potential problem for those folks out there. And then Vicky out there, and Vicky is actually expected to weaken and kind of drift toward the southwest and not really pose any kind of threat. We're obviously then looking at a system in the southern Caribbean, and that is forecast to not move a whole heck of a lot if it does develop over the next several days. So that's a no imminent threat to us. And then we have a system there just southwest of the Cape Verde Islands, and we'll be watching that as well. But nothing imminent for us other than the what we've got with the remnants of Sally coming in. Okay, so looking at the overall weather pattern setup, and looking at heavy rain we've got a number of threats today, but we'll start first with the heavy rain threat. And this is the earlier advisory from earlier this morning. This system has been taken over by the Weather Prediction Center, and it basically means that the Hurricane Center is handing it over as a primarily a rainfall threat, not much of a wind threat anymore, handing it over to the Weather Prediction Center up in the DC area. So they are going to be looking at that, monitoring that over the next 24 to 48 hours. It looks like the remnants of what the system is are going to be crossing the Carolinas through early Friday. And as I said, heavy rainfall is the main threat with this. And we're also looking at a tornado threat, and I will get to that in just a moment. And that'll mainly be across our southeast sections. But that is the general path of the low is going to be across our far southern sections and southeast sections, and is expected to be moving off the northern coast of the northern Outer Banks of North Carolina sometime on Friday, with improving conditions thereafter. Okay, so looking a little more detail at the probability of flash flooding in our area over the next 36 hours, roughly. We do have what's termed a moderate risk for excessive rainfall. And that basically means that the rainfall that we've expected has a pretty good shot of producing some flooding. The details of exactly where and what will flood, that will fall under our flood advisories and flood warnings that we're probably going to be issuing today. But this is just kind of an outlook product, basically letting folks know that this is the general area of concern for heavy rainfall as we get through tonight into early on Friday. And made a note there too, we'll get to this too, talking about river flooding, and that could extend well into the weekend and possibly early next week. Okay, this is looking at our flash flood watch in effect, and there are flash flood watches in effect for most of the region extending up into Virginia and down South Carolina, and most of these are in effect at least through tonight, if not through a good portion of Friday, at least the first half of Friday. You can see other hazards we've got there. Tornado watch is currently in effect just across South Carolina, just south of our area. That's in effect currently. We have some coastal flooding issues as well, and small craft advisories and things like that at the coast. But that just gives you kind of an overview of what's going on with our watches we've got going on right now. This is the accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, and basically today, tonight, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at still looking at 3 to 6 inches. We have had some indications that these amounts may be a little on the high side. But overall, we're still expecting that a good chunk of the area will see in excess of 3 or 4 inches, and that will produce flooding, in particular those flood-prone areas like the urban areas and places of poor drainage, low spots. We're going to be seeing swollen creeks, and where those pass just under roadways could get washed away, and that's our main concern here over the next 36 hours. Looking ahead at Friday, the system, as you can kind of see there, will be moving up. There won't be a whole lot of significant precipitation, maybe in the northeast sections, but not a whole lot after daybreak on Friday, and there will be improving conditions as that moves off. Saturday through the middle of next week looks really nice. We've got cool high pressure building in, and dry weather is likely through that period. Okay, here's the upcoming, just overall weather pattern, just general thing that we're used to seeing on our weekly briefings here. You can see in that first top left panel there, Sally will be tracking, or remnants of Sally, I should say, will be tracking off to the northeast, crossing south, central, and eastern North Carolina through tonight. And this will be merging with a cold front, and that will be heading to our south during the day on Friday. And as you can see, that high pressure building in from the north, and that will continue to slide southward, sitting over our area through the middle of next week. So we will see a pretty cool trend. This high pressure area is a Canadian source, and will be bringing pretty fall-like conditions overall, and really give us a nice break from some of the humid weather we've been seeing. And the temperatures that we're expecting are going to be seeming like more like late October, early November. So if you like some cool, crisp weather, you'll get your taste of it from this weekend and into middle of next week. Okay, moving on to the severe thunderstorm potential. We're looking at, and these are not traditional storms. Anybody who's in this area knows that you don't see in tropical systems. You see more, these are not the typical summertime storms. A lot of these may not have a lot of lightning with them, or any lightning with them, but they could still produce tornadoes, and that's our main concern. We've already had some warnings issued across South Carolina earlier this morning, and we're going to be kind of looking at that area sweeping up to the north and east across southern and eastern North Carolina, as you can see there in the Outlook image there. Once we get past daybreak tomorrow, there'll be a low end risk in coastal sections for some strong storms, but not expecting anything in our area after daybreak on Friday as far as severe weather goes. And then, as I said, the weekend and early in the mid part of next week, we should expect no storms, so we'll be good shape there. Okay, this is just a simulated radar forecast, and again, this is coming from computer model outputs, so it's just giving you an idea of kind of the timing that we're looking at for storms today into tonight. And you see right now, and what's out there now is mainly some light showers, pretty much covering most of the area, but nothing severe right now. But we are expecting a downturn in conditions, especially across the south and southwest sections as we head into the afternoon today. And we're looking at a heightened risk of showers and storms that could produce tornadoes as we head into the late afternoon, in particular in the evening hours, and perhaps getting into the overnight hours, which is concerning whenever you have a tornado risk at night or after people go to bed. There's a lower risk that they're going to receive those warnings that we issue. So, we're advising folks to make sure you have a way of receiving warnings later on today, especially after you head to bed tonight, because we could issue some warnings in the evening hours and into the overnight hours. So be prepared for that, and take action if we do issue a warning. So there should be some improvement on that as we head in toward daybreak on Friday. So, but again, that threat of tornadic storms could continue through the nighttime hours tonight. Okay, now we do have some concerns about this heavy rainfall producing some extended flooding issues in terms of the main stem rivers and tributaries. And this is just a quick snapshot, and I'll run through these pretty quickly. We do have some expectations of moderate flooding on the Rocky River at Norwood. You can see they're getting up to 33.5 feet, mainly impacting pasture land areas, but we're also concerned about some of the smaller creeks and streams that do feed into the Rocky River, and actually all the rivers around here. Will be watching out for those and some of the impacts of those smaller creeks as they pass near and particularly under roadways. We're monitoring that. This is just a snapshot of the Cape Fear River. You can see at Haw River near Bynum and Haw River, Deep River near Moncure, and then getting into the Cape Fear at Lillington and Little River at Manchester. All expected to be fairly middle to low end, minor flooding expected there. Moving on to the Noose River, little bit of concern for some moderate flooding there at Smithfield, so we'll be on the lookout for that. And then as that water starts going into the down east and heading into the Goldsboro area, then we'll start seeing river levels rising there as we head into the weekend. So the river flooding is going to be a concern for us way past the time the rainfall ends, so it's through the weekend and then perhaps beyond. And this is particularly the case here at Tarboro. We're expecting early part of next week should see some flooding on the tar at Tarboro. So going back to the main points that we have concerns about here, obviously heavy rain producing flash flooding, periods of moderate to heavy rainfall, and you could see some rates upwards of 1 inch an hour and perhaps higher. This is the tropical rainfall is a little bit different animal, and it can produce some pretty heavy rates over an extended period of time, and that's why we're concerned about that 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 inches of rain over the area, and it should impact the entire area. I really can't say that there's any one part of central North Carolina that's going to be more impacted than another. We had been looking at southwest sections, Stanley County in particular, and Richmond, down the areas east of Charlotte for the main concern for flooding, but right now it's really looks like we've got a pretty good swath across our area that has a good chance of seeing some of the heavier rainfall. And as I mentioned, river flooding will be a problem. Most of the main stem rivers, if not all, will see some sort of significant rises, if not flooding, and that will head through the weekend and perhaps into early next week. And there's, as I said, there's a risk of tornadoes there. Again, that's mainly across our south and southeast. That includes the Fayetteville area, Clinton, Goldsboro. So we will be on the lookout for that. Conditions will, as I said earlier, start ramping up early this afternoon and continue well into tonight. So make sure you have that way to receive your warnings. And so we also, we do send tweets out when we issue severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. So if nothing else, perhaps set up a notification on your phone to receive notifications of our tweets when we issue those, at least over the next 36 hours, so you have some way of being alerted to our warnings when we issue them. So again, here's the weather summary. Just a quick high rain chances through at least the first part for the day of Friday. Flash flooding, river flooding are all possible. Looking at conditions to improve late Friday, rain ending west to east, and we will see clouds lingering through much of the weekend, at least through Saturday night. But definitely cooling off. We'll have a cool breeze from the north and northeast. We've got the Canadian air pouring into the region, so you can see there in the bottom, our highs are going to be, as I said, more like a late October, perhaps early November for our temperatures over the next, as we get into the weekend and through early next week. And again, as far as the hazards and impacts, can't stress this enough, flash flooding is possible. So, be careful driving around, areas that, rural areas where the creeks go under the road. Those will be particularly susceptible to being washed away. So, we're concerned about that, obviously, and in urban areas will be a problem. High water in places that usually flood will be particularly susceptible. So we'll keep a close eye on that out here for the through Friday morning. Again, also a risk of strong severe storms producing tornadoes, mainly across southeast sections. So we'll be on the lookout for that as well. River flooding could last well into the weekend, and water levels will continue to run high for the next few days, even on smaller tributaries and creeks. So, obviously, don't let kids go play around the creeks, because you could see some water rushing through pretty rapidly, more rapidly than normal. So take extra caution there. And then, after Sally exits Friday, no tropical systems are an immediate threat, but we're obviously always keeping a watch out. We are toward the peak of the hurricane season. Actually, we've just passed it. So, but we're still in the throes of it. So we'll continue to keep a lookout for that. So that is all I have. I wish you all a good week, and please stay safe out there. A lot of hazards, so a lot of things to pay attention to. So stay weather aware and be safe, and have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.